what's up, you guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Checkup Podcast featuring myself, Armani, and AC, man. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. Good. Glad to be here again. Blessed,
Mm-hmm.
blessed beyond belief. Just had a good week, and just really thankful to be here in this position, man. So I'm glad to be back here doing this podcast and just talking sports, doing what we love.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I mean, the league's basically over now. Regular season's over. We got a lot of stuff going on with the play-in tournament coming up in the next day or so. But before we get into that, man, I just want to give a big shout out to this Hall of Fame class this past weekend. They were enshrined into the class. Main highlighters we have obviously are Kobe Bryant, the late great, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Tamika Catchings, as well as Rudy Tomjanovich, Eddie Sutton, and then Kim Mulkey and Barbara Stevens. Just a great and a huge blessing to be able to see greatness continuing to be recognized, bro. I know we look back at the late passing of Kobe, and we just think of the sorrows and sadness that it brought to us in our spirit. But it was really nice to see him being enshrined, bro, for sure, most definitely.
Most definitely, it reminded me of a quote, to make sure that you give the people their roses when they can still smell them. Obviously, that wasn't the case with Kobe Bryant, but that's not something. That's just that's God controlling something. But just making sure that people like Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan and Tamika Catchings, especially Tamika Catchings, are given
the WNBA,
by being validated in the way that can't be taken away from them, because those players all in their own individual ways changed the game for the next generation coming up behind them. Like people, we really love this new NBA where all of our bigs and stretchers can shoot. And, that really kind of started with Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan being the bigs. Okay, well, I'm, especially Kevin Garnett with his face-up jump shot, he would be shooting 18-foot mid-ranges. He would be basically right by the three-point line, stretching
right.
You'd be like, well, how do you guard Kevin Garnett at basically the three-point line? And that's literally what the blueprint of today's NBA is now. You got Anthony Davis step back and for threes, basically learning from what Kevin Garnett did. And, people like KG don't get a lot of credit for that, but that's real. Like these guys really did revitalize and rechange the game. And another aspect that they really don't get enough credit for is the defensive, man. All three of these dogs were crazy on the defensive side of the ball.
Right.
And then that was an era when defense was, I mean, it's crazy to say that was a different era, because we grew up watching these guys that like they were like a part of our lives this whole time, but they really did play in a totally different era. And in their era, those guys were dominant on defense. They had KG was a lock, Tim D was a lock. Kobe, you couldn't get past Kobe. If Kobe said you wasn't getting past me, you wasn't getting past Kobe. Like they were all, I think that people really paid more attention and appreciated the effort that defensive players have to put into those plays, because it's always like, oh my God, he just hit a step back and, gamed the shot, and we all love that reaction. But in an alternate universe, when that hand's up, and even if I don't block the shot, if I alter the shot, more times than not, the conversation is, this person missed the game winner versus that person prevented the game winner, and I think it's good that people were still talking about their defensive accolades as they were going into the NBA Hall of Fame, just because that's an important part of their game. That's an important part of the reason why they got there. If all three of those guys only had the MVPs, only had the championship rings, they probably wouldn't have had the same probability of being a first ballot, no question Hall of Famer. But they had that. They had the extra side of the game. They had that defensive side, and that's just a way to make themselves more valuable. And that's why every person that made it in is a champion. And some of them, I mean, KG obviously should have been a more than one-time champion if you ask me, but all of them was champions. So it's definitely great to see their legacies being forever enshrined in the Basketball Hall of Fame. All the years of hard work that no one watched, all the blood, sweat, and tears that no one gets to see.
Bro, for real.
Even it's just validation for themselves. That they did it. And that's all it is. It's just good for them to have that. So I was happy to see that. It was a great moment. Word to Vanessa Bryant for coming out there and being really, really strong and delivering
resilient too. Yeah.
especially her daughter as well. I'm blanking on her name, but being up there, accepting the award,
Natalia, yeah.
yeah, accepting the award on the behalf, delivering a powerful speech, just reminding people of all the things. So that was a really good moment for me. Definitely touched my heart. If anyone else watched that, you probably were touched by that as well. Just because, it's I couldn't imagine how the world would feel, if Kevin Garnett was gone or Tim Duncan was gone, because all these guys, even with their different personalities, they all had a different way of making you feel something. Like Tim Duncan
Exactly,
never
bro.
really said anything. He was the quiet kind of assassin that he didn't really take him seriously. But a lot of kids look up to Tim Duncan, and that was the style that they wanted to be like. They wanted to be the guy who was, you know, kind of goofy looking, didn't look like he really fit in. But once you got on the
Right.
court, it was monster. That was Tim
Right.
Duncan. Like if you saw Tim Duncan before the game and you weren't an NBA fan, like you wouldn't think that was going to be the guy that was come out and give you 25, 15.
Seriously,
You wouldn't
bro.
have, you wouldn't have thought that was him. Like, I'm just being honest. But that was who he was. And that was another personality. And you got complete opposite, Kevin Garnett, in your face,
A
track
dog, a
loud,
pit, yeah,
yelling.
pit bull.
Oh my God, nothing but intensity all the time. And you talk about his teammates, which is like, yo, KG was on one like all times, like always, bro. Like we couldn't stand KG because that was his personality. And I think that's another thing is because it's reminding people that there are more than one way to get it done. There's more than one way of being. You can be a docile kind of person, a go with the flow kind of person, and be a 5-time champion. You can also be a maniac like Kobe Bryant and be a 5-time champion. There's no one way of doing it. Obviously, Kobe decided to go with kind of like in the path of Michael Jordan. Other guys kind of made their own path, and I think
Yeah,
that's
and
great.
carved it.
I think that's great. They're all being recognized for the end goal.
Hmm. Yeah, most definitely, bro. And that's the thing with guys like you said, Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan, bro. Like those were two guys that they kind of carved out their own way. Like you can say we could say Tim Duncan kind of was in the image and light under David Robinson, but Duncan's game was so fundamentally sound that it seems so simplistic to do those things, and it's things to this day that we as like as a coach or as a mentor, you would teach somebody to play as the typical power forward role as a guy like him. And then when you get into that mentality of being a brute, an aggressive dog, or a pest on defense inside, you think of a guy like KG, because KG was just in your head. He's here, he's here, he's here. He's just trying to chime in on you, whatever he can possible. But it's well deserving. Like I said, it's a real humble and honest thing for to be forever recognized and to be forever enshrined into something that is for lifelong, forever. And I'm grateful to see that. As much as I hated to see Kevin Garnett beat the Lakers in '08, it's a blessing that he was able to win the championship with the Celtics, bro.
Yeah.
And even for Kobe's 5 championships and Duncan's his reign with the Spurs for his life, like they've paid their dues and paid their respects for their organizations and the teams they played for. And it's just exciting, bro. Going in though, with the seasons being over and stuff, I want to see what you think about with this whole playoff situation right now.
Man, I'm beyond excited. I know you can't see it on my face, you probably can't hear it in my
Yeah,
voice.
I know. We go through a lot. You good, bro?
I'm excited, bro, because first of all, let's just address something. Okay, Lake Show Twitter's been talking about how everybody in the West is trying to duck the Lakers in the playoffs. Now I don't know if that's true or not. Whether or not, I mean, obviously I know the
Y'all
Clippers.
ready for us?
Hey, I've been ready. I'm ready. I'm so ready. Hey, do not disappoint me, bro. I swear, if y'all losing this playing game, I'm gonna be so disappointed. I'm be
Yeah,
so
I
disappointed.
know.
I've been waiting for y'all all my life. But anyway, Clippers lost to, I believe, the Thunder and the
Yeah,
Rockets last 2 games. It's a little suspicious, man. It's a little suspicious. Don't tell me the team that was built to beat the Lakers is kind of scared. Don't tell me y'all scared now.
they don't want to play us first round, man. I'm telling you, the team is built. The
You
team's
know
getting
what's
healthy. We getting back. I think LeBron re-rolled his ankle, but still, like, the team is healthy, and that's the problem. I feel like that a lot of teams are like, okay, we don't want to run against a healthy Lakers team. So,
Yeah, no, that's definitely true.
mhm.
But I think that the Clippers should be more concerned about finding a way to not be bothered by Dallas this year, because Dallas for sure had their number last year. I'd rather see the Lakers first round than Dallas. But hey, to each his own. Obviously, they're scared of the Lakers for some reason. But me as a Suns fan, I'm not scared. I'm ready. I'm ready for that work. We've been waiting for this all season. We've been wanting this.
You guys are built for the moment right now, so
Yeah, we good for the moment.
Excuse me.
But
But
with the playing game coming up on this Wednesday, we have our Western Conference games Wednesday, our Eastern Conference games on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. So dope. I'm gonna go out on a limb and just be honest with the East games. I see Indiana beating Charlotte. I don't think Charlotte got what it takes as far
not
as
right now.
not right now. Indy's
Yeah.
been a team that's been put together. They've competed the past few years. They've been a playoff team the past few years. I believe that they're going to continue to be a playoff team. And then you ask me, Washington is dogging the Celtics. It's not even a question.
Yeah.
No, they're not. I'm sorry, but Washington is on a tear right now, and the Celtics just don't have an identity. I don't know who they
They're
think
just a big question mark, and they have been this whole season, bro, and it sucks. But
and
it's just
especially without Jaylen Brown now, they're beyond a question mark. So I got them losing that game, and then I got them losing again when they see the Pacers in the second round of the play-in, because I just don't think that Jason Tatum by himself is going to be enough, and I haven't seen enough of Kemba Walker this year to give me a reason to believe in him. So I'm going to go ahead and go with that, and then I have the. See, the thing is, that's why I'm really excited for that game, because Washington and Indiana have played each other many times this year, and their games always are close to, like, they're always really, really high scoring. There'll be like 120 points plus per both team, and it'll go like 130 type. And so having them duke it out and shoot out for that playoff spot to avoid playing the 76ers first is going to be super interesting. Versus, well, actually, I don't even know. If you're in that position, who would you rather play, the Sixers or Brooklyn? Who do you think you got a better chance as? That's tough. I mean, do you want to see the Sixers or do you want to see Brooklyn? Because you got to see one.
I mean, with Harden coming back healthy and stuff, bro, I'd rather see not Brooklyn, Philly, bro. But at the same time, though, bro, like, you're going against a onslaught of defense with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. I mean, Tobias Harris is having a good year. Tyrese Maxey just had a good-ass game, his last game of the regular season. I mean, it's the last game, but still, like, the team is built for – the top two teams in the Eastern Conference are built for pretty good runs, I feel like. It's kind of an interesting topic to think about it, to really sit there and dive down in. But I don't think anybody right now in their right mind would want to run into that Brooklyn team. And that's just me saying that realistically.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying that all year, though.
And at the same time, though, like, Kyrie Irving is in the 50, 40, 90 club now. Like, the dude's playing efficient basketball. I mean, he's being effective. He's getting to his shots. He's getting to his spots. I mean, everything is in their favor right now. So it's a matter of you got to pick your poison. You want to play against defense or you want to play against offensive firepower? I'd rather play against defense knowing that I can try to defend the best of my ability to try to compete. But, I mean, when you know you're a high seed like that and you have a lot of momentum, it's kind of hard to determine and dictate. I just wouldn't want to run into KD and Harden and Kyrie at the same time. Like, that's tough.
Most definitely. Now, with my predictions for going to the West, just being real, I don't see, as much as I love Popovich and what he does every year, the Spurs should be really happy they made it to the 10th seed, because most NBA fans can't tell you who's on their roster this year. But they're going to lose to Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson in the 9th seed.
Yeah.
And I see the Memphis Grizzlies having to face the Warriors. If I'm just being completely realistic on how they say the game going, I don't see LeBron and AD both being on the court. I don't care whether or not they're fully healthy or not. I don't see them both being on the court in the game, having the impact they can have, and allowing that game to get away from them. I believe the Warriors and Lakers have played each other 3 times this year. Lakers have won two of the 3, and in the last 2 they've won. It's been in dramatic fashion, easily over double-digit point wins. Obviously, this game is a more serious game, so you can't just act as if Steph Curry is going to come out and drop 50. Probably will, because no one in the league can stop Steph Curry. Only thing is, do I believe that Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins are going to show up and also put up points? Nah, I don't believe that against the Lakers. I don't want to say. Not against the Lakers in the play-in game, where if people are taking it seriously, somebody can guard those 2 guys. And just be honest. Steph is the only person they have, and I'm not worried about, and I don't have to look forward to the next game because it's not regular season anymore. It's playoffs time. I'll let Steph go 50. I'm not letting Wiggins hit 20. I'm not letting anybody else hit 20, and we'll win the game. That's a winning formula right there. And then with that being said, I got Golden State definitely beating Memphis because of that same reason I'm talking about Steph Curry. There's nobody on. He just played Memphis to end the season, dropped 42 on what was it 46? 46 on them.
Yeah.
They don't have anybody that can get close to stopping them. Dylan Brooks does a nice job of trying to contain, but like I said, Steph Curry, league MVP candidate, you're not stopping him, especially not when he's going to the playoffs. Curry's got something to prove. I can feel it the way he's playing this year. He wants people to put some respect on his name. I got them slipping in at the AC, and then the Lakers staying at 7, which then in turn has the Phoenix Suns seeing Lakers first round, and then Golden State seeing Utah. I think that's going to be good for Utah because I don't think Utah is really too concerned about the Golden State Warriors. It's going to allow
Steph Curry. It's going
to allow them to really get into their own rhythm because what I was reading earlier is about the Jazz and their unique offenses. That they lead the league in 3 points. 3-point shots. They also lead the league in the least amount of mid-range shots that they take, and we all know about how the playoffs, how the game slows down, how 3-point line gets a little more contested, mid-range starts to be more available. So I think with them playing Golden State Warriors first round, and obviously still waiting on Donovan Mitchell to come get back and be healthy, and they'll be able to play that kind of offense they've ran the entire season because Golden State it doesn't have the capabilities of stopping that offense first round. Now somebody in the second round might be able to put up a fight,
of course,
but in the first round, I feel like they'll probably 4 games. Well, I'm not gonna say 4 games because Steph ain't going out like that. But 5 to 6 games is over with. And just be honest, we're not going more than 5-6. There's no way. Not in my opinion, at least. And then with the rest of the West, that falls how it falls. But I'm just talking about the play-in pieces. If I got on the East, like I said, I'm gonna go with the Washington Wizards beating the Pacers. Because Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook are just all world. And there's sometimes people get on Russell Westbrook for his desire to just want to win so bad. And it's like, oh, that's a negative. Oh, he wants to try too hard. But in games and instances like this, that's all that matters. It's not about, whether being you're the most talented team, this, that, and other third. You got one game, one chance. It's who wants to win. And Russell wants to win. And guess what? He don't got to take the last shot. Because Bradley Beal can do it. And we can all let that narrative go that Russell can't shoot the last shot. Nah, whatever. I got somebody to do that. Cool. So I got them coming out and taking that seventh seed and going on to play the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah. And then I got the Pacers taking on Philadelphia. I'm really going to be stoked for that Brooklyn Wizards series. I mean, just because it's KD versus Russ. Just because it got a little extra.
Heat.
You know what I'm saying? Just because it's going to be hard on the other side of the ball. Kyrie on the other side. Russ is going to be trying to give
headhunt time. Yep.
So whether or not they get one game, if they steal a game, don't let them steal a game. Don't let them steal a game.
Yeah, that's momentum.
If they get 2, oh man, don't let them get 2. Don't let them get 2. Yeah. So that'll be dope. I think that Philly a manhandle. The Pacers probably wiped them out in 5. Just being real, The Pacers can't stop the Sixers. Can't stop Embiid. Can't nobody guard. Well, I mean, Malcolm Brogdon is a decent defender, but like I said, you can't stop Ben Simmons because he's just too big. And the Sixers' main problem is they end up stalling themselves out when they're not hitting it. When their 3-point shooters aren't hitting threes.
Yeah, if they're not hitting shots, it's kind of a bad problem for them.
Yeah, if their 3-point shooters hitting threes, then the Pacers aren't putting up a challenge. I think that the biggest must-watch series of the playoffs first round, though,
4-5.
Milwaukee
and Miami series rematch.
I really think that has the potential to go to 7. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good grit and grind series.
That's gonna be a good grit and grind series. I don't really know who I want to pick in that because I feel like either whenever I say I'm gonna go with Miami or the Bucks, I feel like I'm being disrespectful to the other side. If I go, Bucks, Giannis, Drew Holiday,
The
Middleton.
Bucks still have a lot to prove, bro. You got to think about it. The
They got a
Bucks
lot
still
to
have to
prove to
prove.
me. They got a lot to prove to me. But because at this point we're all doing predictions, so this is all based off what we've seen, what we expect them to do, based off what they have. The Bucks have more than they had last year, so I'm expecting them to do more than they did last year. But then again, the Heat has had their number, and that's the one team that's pretty much had their number this whole time. It's been the Miami Heat. So they definitely did not want to see them first round. That's a really bad matchup. If whoever is winning this is winning it in 6, there's no one is winning it less than 6. I honestly think it's going to go 7, and then the person who comes out of that winning is going to have a tough time going on to see whoever's next because they done played more games than the other person.
Right.
And I think that's going to be the downfall of whoever comes out of that. So I think either Milwaukee. Well, I don't know, man. See, this is the fun about playoffs because I'm sitting here talking to myself and I'm talking myself out of things. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a sucky situation because like these teams, they could go left or right at any point in time, bro. Like, I mean, we have our consistent teams like we think about. I mean, we said Philly, and then obviously like Brooklyn Nets, and then you got the Suns, you got the Utah Jazz. Like those top teams, like we kind of expect them to come out winning, but it's those fringe question mark teams, like you said, Miami, Milwaukee. It's like who wins that series? Because at the same time, you have a matchup of Jimmy Butler and Giannis, but at the same time, Bam Adebayo's on the team now. New addition of Drew Holiday for the Milwaukee Bucks is pretty tremendous for them right now. So it's kind of like you got to pick and decide like what matchup is best at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Another team though that's been catching my attention pretty big is the New York Knicks. I mean, just the transition of the team, bro, and where they've been at to where they are now, it's way different. It's way better. So I just don't really know, and kind of really interested to see like what happens with it, because this has really changed and transitioned his team around to a better position. I mean, from where they once were to where they are now, with just Julius Randle's play as being all-star level talent, it's something you don't expect. It's something that you don't just say, oh my gosh, the New York Knicks are a playoff contending team now. Like it's kind of sick and wild to just think like that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it definitely. I mean, I think that the Coach of the Year award is going to be one of the most argued about awards this year because there are a lot of candidates. Because we're talking about the Knicks, and going into this year, everybody predicted the Knicks would be a 25-win team. It'd be a bottom of the barrel. Same
old those guys, bro.
Same old. Because you didn't see anything different. It's the same roster. It's basically the same roster.
But the players progressed.
But see that's the difference. That's why coaches get paid what they get paid, man. Because that same roster was useless last year. And Julius Randle was nothing like what he played like this year. But you have a coach who understands the player's potential, understands how to use a system, and then goes out and gets players that fit the system. Now you see the return of D Rose to the Knicks, and look at D Rose now, still doing what D Rose can do, and just he's in little small bursts. You know what I'm saying? Frank Ntilikina is actually a much more decent player than all of New York expected him to believe, because in the first couple of years he couldn't hoop because the coaches didn't know what to do with him. RJ Barrett is looking like the pick that the New York Knicks wanted him to be. And guess what happened? New coach. Like all like little things like that can make such a difference. Reggie Bullock is balling. Who else on that team is hooping? I mean, you got Taj Gibson, a dude who's been in the league for forever, putting in consistent minutes. Still, you got him looking like the second coming to Jeff Green. Like, what's going on with these G's? But yeah, you definitely got to give mad props to both of those teams in that series, New York and especially the Atlanta Hawks, because the Atlanta Hawks weren't supposed to be in this position either. They were. I remember at the beginning of the season, we were like 2 weeks in, and they were out of the playoffs, bottom of the barrel team. We
all these points out doing
coach, fired a coach, promoted their coach from within, and then became a playoff team instantly, and nobody talked about them just because that's how the NBA goes. There's too many storylines to worry about, but them being a 5th seed in the playoffs is really interesting. I don't know who's going to get the best of who in that series, because I mean, if Ice Trae comes out in his first, and wants to light it up, ain't nobody stopping Ice Trae. Just be honest. And that we know that Hawks team is deep. We remember talking about that at the beginning of the year. We were like, yo, this Hawks team is deep. They got Bogdanovich. No, is it Boban? Yeah, it's Boban Bogdanovich. He's on the team. They got Porter. Collins. They got the leading rebounder this year, Clint Capella. You know, like they got some people on that team, man, and they're gonna give the Knicks fits. And because these two teams are just so, I feel like they're not teams that the teams who feel like they're the best really take seriously. And they're like, it's, you know, it's the Knicks, it's the Hawks, you know. And
Yeah.
whenever they get to that second round, whoever wins out of that one is gonna catch somebody sleeping because they're gonna be like, yeah,
Right.
it's just the Hawks, man. It's just Trae Young. Like, if I
Yeah.
go out Trae Young, it's, you know. So, I'm really excited about that matchup as well. But in the East, I mean, not in the East, in the West, I'm curious to see how Jokic by himself, well, essentially by himself, is going to be able to do against Portland, because you know it's the teams that each team has, you know, the best player is, you know, Portland has the guard, that's their best player, Denver best player, the center. So two totally different positions that aren't in like direct competition with each other. They're not going to be guarding each other, you know, and whatnot. Is Michael Porter Jr. going to step up and be the guy who's going to average, you know, 20 over 20 in a playoff
They're going
series?
against Portland. That's going to be a high
Can you do that?
problem for offense for them. Yeah.
You know, Aaron Gordon, what are you going to give me in the playoffs, man?
Yeah.
You're in the West now. It's not the Magic and
It's
the
not the
AC no
East.
more.
Yeah. They're not in the East no
Not the
more.
AC no more, bro. You in the West.
Yeah.
You got a solid spot. What are you going to do this time? You know, so I think that's going to be obviously very interesting because you can't doubt Dame. Like as much
No,
as
I don't, bro. That's my guy,
Dame,
bro.
that like he is so, I wouldn't say he's underappreciated anymore just because people are giving him his credit, but I still feel like there's something missing because when it comes down to it, when you know the game is on the line, there are a few people that you'd rather go to than Damian Lillard.
Right. So it's gonna be interesting because that's the thing I say too. Like when it's Dame time, bro. And so like him being touching on all cylinders, bro, it's gonna be really interesting to see like the dynamic between that 6 and 3 seed matchup, bro. Like every time Damian's on the court, bro, like I just be like, oh yeah, it's time, bro. Like he's gonna go up. Can't count that team out. It's kind of like it's kind of wild and say this, but you can't count him out. Like you can't. He's one of those players you just can't like sleep on. You can't doubt him or nothing. Like because he'll prove you wrong quickly too. He'll get your team to fight back into it and all that. So it's great, bro.
He's literally the definition of you just need to be in it to win it. Like he just needs a chance. Just let him get a chance, and he's gonna be
for real. No, seriously, bro.